and I think he'll knock him out in about 8 or 9.
Oh, you do? You think he'll knock him out?
I do.
Interesting. When he retires from the heavyweight boxing, I think boxing will miss him.
I think Lomachenko is on a different level. Has he ever fought anyone as clever and capable as Usyk? He hasn't, has he?
No, nowhere near. It just stinks of corruption. I mean, I just don't like it. You guys.
Welcome to episode 73 of Talk Boxing with myself, Simon Jordan, and Spencer Oliver. We are in a monumental week, I suppose 25 years in the making. At last,
Yep.
the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
Yeah, we're finally here, fight week, and looking forward to this one. It's interesting, Simon, isn't it, going into this contest? There's a lot of ifs, buts, and maybes surrounding this fight, and they're all directed at Tyson Fury. Off his last performance, and you look at that and then you go, are the cracks starting to appear? You know, is Tyson Fury slowly on the decline? We're going to find that out, or was it just that he had no fear factor going into that fight, underprepared, and we'll see the real Tyson Fury. And then Tyson Fury, I believe, by the way, that we will get. He looks in great condition, and we'll see the real Tyson Fury. And if we get that, and a guy that is, when his back's up against the wall a little bit, Tyson Fury, is when he seems to perform. That's when he seems to deliver. We haven't seen that performance, by the way, since the third fight with Deontay Wilder back in, when was it, 2021? So, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing if this is the fight that brings the best out of Tyson Fury.
He did bash up Dillian White, didn't he?
Yeah, we did. It was no contest, really, wasn't it?
Dillian White was a mandatory challenger that had been given an opportunity to fight for the world title, which he should have been given, and he did the job that was in front of him. He beat the fella that was in front of him. What are you expecting? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of noise that will start to... I mean, there's a lot of noise full stop, and so there should be, because between the Saudis and Frank, they've built up this fight, and given it's undisputed, it doesn't need much building up.
Yeah.
But what are you expecting to see and hear during the course of this week? Predominantly, not from the side shows like John Fury running around headbutting people in elevators and all that sort of stuff, which I'm sure the Saudi kingdom are delighted with.
Yeah.
What are you expected to see from the fighters this week?
I'm expecting Oleksandr Usyk to be his normal self, very quiet, very reserved, very respectful in many ways, but full of confidence. That's what I'm expecting from Usyk, and from Tyson Fury, I'm expecting the show that we get, you know, with a lot of shouting, a lot of trying to get inside the head of Oleksandr Usyk, because that is a big part of Tyson Fury's game. He likes to sort of get inside, he likes to play the mind games. Absolutely, the psychological side. He likes to win that battle. But he's up against a guy here who's been there, seen it, done it, and I'm not sure that's going to take any effect going into the contest before the first bell rings.
Are you watching the narrative around Fury build? Because there's been lots. I mean, you and I are both Fury admirers. I don't think some of the things that have come out of his mouth over the last 12 months I'm particularly admiring of. And I don't mean some of his views from the past that people judge him by. I mean some of the banality and plurality he's given out when people have criticised him.
Yeah.
But there's also... I mean, I read an article in the Mail over the weekend by Raif Al-Samadai, I think is the correct pronunciation for Raif, who's a fellow Mail columnist of mine, that's really kind of slaughtered Fury, in terms of Fury bills himself and the merchandise that he's selling as the people's champion. Yet there's this feeling, I think, in boxing, that there's lots of people that are not in Fury's camp as much as they might have been once before. Do you get that feeling?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Why do you think that is?
Well,
I've just kind of characterised it, but why do you think it is?
Yeah, I just think that it is the show that Tyson Fury puts on when he opens his mouth. You know, he's very insulting. And I think, listen, I understand it. We live in a world of entertainment and it sells. It's all about clickbait and whatnot. But I think people get bored and they get tired of it. You know, it's been going on really since lockdown. And I think now when people look at it, you go, look, this is the ultimate gladiatorial sport. You've got the number one and number two, whatever way that's going to be, we find out on Saturday night. But you go, the two best gladiators right out there right now in the heavyweight division, going head to head, show a little bit of respect as well. It's not all about, it's not all about the slagging off. And I think that's what people are maybe starting to get slightly tired of.
But do you not think that's slightly unfair on Fury? I'll tell you why. I mean, the greatest heavyweight of all time spent his entire time deriding his opponents in Muhammad Ali. Right? He called Sonny Liston the bear. Right? He called Floyd Patterson the rabbit. He called George Foreman the mummy. He called the worst one of all was Joe Fraser. He called him the gorilla, right? Which brought in racial connotations and called him an Uncle Tom and all kinds of stuff, right? Which is so that seems to have been a stock in trade. So why would people be so fed up with Fury taking the piss like he does? He turns up in a Batman outfit for Klitschko. He brings out the immortal line of "I'm going to lick that clit," which I still think is the greatest line that's ever been produced in a press conference. But why are people suddenly going, no, Tyson, I'm fed up with you.
Do you know what? Because I think that is when you look at, like, when you're talking about Muhammad Ali and you're talking about the legends like that, I think at that time they didn't get the recognition. They only got that after the career was over. And
Ali,
I think
leave off.
No,
he was a self-proclaimed greatest of all time, and everyone else said it.
At that time when
Howard Cosell said it. Everyone said it.
When he was slagging people off like that, I don't think that he was getting. I don't think he got the accolades really then that he's got now. I just think that with Tyson Fury, you're always going to get that with Tyson Fury. Some people, people love it, some people do not.
So then, do you think then you must, if that's the case, then you must think this narrative that's building up against Tyson is slightly unfair?
Well, listen, it's not about me. Like, I don't.
Well, you're the one in the conversation with me.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with Tyson Fury's behaviour. I said whether it's boring and we know what it is or whatever, and you get tired of it. I understand it. I understand the business side of it. I understand, what he's all about, and that's the world of entertainment. And he is a big showman. Like, I think when he retires from the heavyweight boxing, I think boxing will miss him.
Well, that was my question. So, by the same logic, what you're saying is all of this background noise will disappear in years to come.
I think it'll create a great legacy for him in years to come. I think people will appreciate him and what he's done after it's all over, more so than what they do now.
I just, from my point of view, for what it's worth, I just think that when you are able to take praise, you should be able to take criticism.
I agree with you.
And I think it defines you as a person and as a man and as someone to admire. And I think, in my instance, from being a major supporter of Tyson Fury, for someone that even came on one of the shows that I did and said, one thing I like about you is you'll tell me when I've done wrong. And so when I tell him he's done wrong, we get banned. Now, I think it's kind of sad that I'm not going to be in a Saudi fight. I'll watch it on television. Sometimes you even get a better spectacle on television. You won't get the atmosphere. But I think it defines you. And when you hear some of the rubbish that Tyson has said about not expecting to queue at airports, and how he's brought massive hundreds of millions into the economy of the UK and he should be given special tax dispensation, I think someone's bumped their head on the way into a boxing training ring. But I'm not in the camp where I think that he is... reading this article in the Mail, it was quite strong about some of the things he said and his representation of himself. But you've now got all of that to one side, and of course all of the support for Usyk gets ramped up a notch because what's happening in the Ukraine and how he's been so strong and supportive of those in his country and been such a man of substance in terms of the fights that he's taken, the manner in which he's come up from the cruiserweights, beaten Anthony Joshua, beaten the people that were in front of him, and seems to have done it with a very noble way of operating. Some of that might be because he doesn't have a command of the English language, so he can't open his mouth and discredit himself. But when you go into this fight, there was a lot more opinions beginning to lean away from Tyson winning this fight. I think, if I'm right, you and I believe that he wins this fight.
Definitely. I think that Tyson Fury needs that fear factor in him, and he's needed this where he goes, now he knows he's going into a real fight. When Tyson Fury's backs up against the wall, that's when he delivers. And some fighters are like that. They need that. And I think going into this fight, that's what it is. And we must remember, Simon, this fight really defines legacies for both guys here. And that's what's on the line right here. They're both phenomenal in what they've achieved so far. But this fight is the history fight.
Well, because
this defines legacy.
It's because it's undisputed.
And that's how I think that people will look back on Tyson Fury's career when I'm talking about the antics that he's got in build-ups and whether it's going too far, and whether you like it or you don't like it, because there'll always be a divide there. You go, this fight is the legacy fight. This is the fight where people look back on and go, what a great fighter he was. When you talk about Lennox Lewis, you talk about Lennox Lewis, and he had win 42, lost 2, drew 1, or whatever else. But the 2 fights that he lost, he reversed them decisions. He beat them in returns. He's got a legacy where you look back on
Oliver
and go,
McCall and
Hassan Rahman, yeah. But he's now got a legacy where you look back and go, he's one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And this fight really determines that, because it's not just about the modern era. This is about history as well. And I think that this will forget all the antics and the build-ups and whatever else, but he won't be remembered for that. He'll be remembered for what he does in the ring, and this fight determines that.
Because you talk about his back against the wall. I think it's slightly different. I think it's about the motivation. I think when he fought Otto Wallin, I think he thought that was a stroll. And so he got himself into a difficult fight there, which made Wallin's reputation. I think he felt that Ngannou was just a turn-up exercise, just had to turn up. And he got himself into a spot of bother there. He knows with Wilder, when he fought Wilder first time, this was a live one, so you saw a version of Tyson Fury, and he knows that Usyk is that problem for him.
Yeah.
And so I think you will see the best version of Tyson. Are you in the camp that he struggles, that the reasons why he's meeting people in the middle of the ring is because he can't move the way he used to? Because again, you hear the rumours. Fury's legs have gone slightly. His ankles can't cope up with the movement that he needs to have. Do you think that's all nonsense?
No, that's all. I just think that when you get older, fighters have to adapt.
They change. Yeah.
They have to adapt.
Ali
right?
changed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather's a great example, and he's a smaller guy, that can go on for longer, but he had to adapt his style. But Tyson Fury has that adaptability because guess what? He's not just a guy that has a long reach, like people put it down to size, reach, how difficult it is to get close to him. He's got a great boxing IQ as well. He can box at range, but he's also likes fighting on the inside. He can be dirty. Yeah. He pushes down on fighters. So that's why I choose him in this fight, because I think that he's a different fighter to what he was when he beat Klitschko, but you look at it and you go, if something's not working out for Tyson Fury,
he can change.
He can change. Yeah. Anthony Joshua couldn't do that in the first fight. Oleksandr Usyk is a guy that can do that. He's great at changing. Tactically, he tries to move. He's got a great engine, and he tries to kick on in the second half of the fight. That's where he takes over with the heavyweights. Tyson Fury, Oleksandr Usyk will have problems getting in close with Fury, but if he starts working something out and starts landing those shots and Fury's falling a little short or whatever, Fury will change it up. He'll rough him up, he'll lean on him, he'll grab the ropes, he'll pull him down, he'll do what he has to do.
Can he knock him out? Can Fury? Because Fury's not the biggest puncher, is he?
He's not the biggest puncher, but I think, yes, definitely a possibility, yeah. I don't think he does, by the way. I think that Fury wins on points.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
It's interesting because the more people I speak, I spoke to Adi Oladipo the other day that talked specifically about there's no way, no parallel universe that Fury beats Usyk on points. Yet you think he does.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even though, would you say Usyk is technically a better boxer?
Yeah.
Than Fury?
Yeah, but I think going into
how does Fury win on points?
I'll explain, because going into this one, yes, I believe Usyk's a technically better boxer, but Fury has the attributes to make things difficult, and he has the boxing IQ to make it difficult for him. So although I think technically Usyk is better, Fury will use those advantages to
lean on him.
To lean on him and do, works that jab well. Like, he feints a lot, he sets traps, he does that. Other heavyweights don't do that. If you use Anthony Joshua, who was another big guy, who people may make the comment of saying, well, look at the size of Anthony Joshua and look what he done to Joshua. You go, yeah, but Joshua never had that adaptability. And as the fight wore on, Joshua started, the confidence was draining out of Joshua. He then stopped stepping in with his shots. He wouldn't go for it. He wouldn't roll the dice. Fury will do that. If Fury's falling behind and things are not going his way, he will change. He will do things. And just all those reasons, that's why I think he'll win.
Has he ever fought anyone as clever and capable as Usyk? He hasn't, has he?
No, nowhere near.
Do you think Usyk's got the power to drop Tyson? Because Tyson's been dropped twice, right?
Yeah.
By Wilder and by Steve Cunningham, yeah?
Yeah.
And Steve Cunningham was a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Right. So do you think Usyk's got the ability to stop Fury?
I think that Usyk, I think he's got the ability to hurt Fury. Don't think he's got the ability to stop him. The reason is because I think that Fury has great powers of recovery. That is one thing that Tyson Fury has got, and he can pull himself back together. But I look at it and go, Oleksandr Usyk has that punch power and that speed, and the speed of shot and the timing and precision will make the accuracy to go. He could now Fury hurt him. Fury could go over,
but he gets up.
And that's the difference.
And by the way, I've done Francis Ngannou injustice, because Ngannou dropped Fury as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's been dropped 3 times. Has Usyk ever been dropped?
Usyk has been dropped. Yeah, Usyk's been dropped body shots.
What Daniel Dubois?
Daniel Dubois. Yeah, but I know that was
that.
Yeah, but as an amateur, I think it was Gassiev. Beterbiev.
Beterbiev, right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, long time ago.
Yeah.
Now. But in his professional career, has he ever been dropped?
No.
No. How do you think?
No.
How do you think Usyk approaches this fight?
how does Usyk approach this fight? I think that what he'll try and do is he'll try and make this a long fight. So I think that he will try and box it. He's only going to box one way. There's a lot of people saying, well, he needs to do what Evander Holyfield tried to do with Lennox Lewis and sit on his chest and all that. That's not his style. And I think that's where it suits Tyson Fury. Fury wants him inside. Fury's great at being dirty and technical. Although he's very tall and rangy, he's good on the inside where he can wear them down and pull him. And that's what Fury will want him to do. Come in close so he can drain him, lean on him, etc. I think for Oleksandr Usyk, he has to chip away. This has to be a long fight.
Right.
We know that he pulls away in the second half of the contest, but for Usyk, it's going to be about circulating, putting the shots together in punches, which is going to be a big thing as well, and trying to make Fury fall short on the counter. Because I think for Usyk, yeah, that's what he's got to do. He's got to lead first, get off with his shots, and get away again, but just stay out of range. And as the fight wears on and Tyson Fury starts to tire, then start sitting on him and pushing forward a little bit.
As Usyk, I just asked you the question about Fury. Has he fought anyone as clever?
Yeah.
Has Usyk fought anyone
No.
as capable and clever as Fury?
No, I don't think so.
Certainly not in the heavyweights.
No,
right?
no, definitely not in the heavyweights, no. But that's where I think that we're going into this one and you look at it and you go, that's why it's such an interesting contest, because we're all going to have an opinion on this one, and we're talking about size and whether Tyson Fury's best days are gone, looking at his last performance, and like, you know, you're weighing all that up until that bell rings. The fascinating fight about this undisputed fight is that we don't know how it plays out, because none of them, I think that equally they're the best fighter that each one of them has boxed, as in boxing IQ. It's going to be interesting to see how Oleksandr Usyk deals with Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury has got a great boxing brain.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see that.
Like
because Usyk, what he does is that he adapts. Like, he goes out there, he takes a look at his opponent, he'll be moving around, then he works out what it is. Well, guess what? Fury's one of those guys as well. So it's going to be interesting.
If you close your eyes and imagine the first couple of rounds, what do you expect to see?
I expect a cautious start from both guys. I think that Tyson Fury takes the centre of the ring. You'll see a lot of feinting from Fury. You'll probably see Fury in the first round feinting. You might not even see a punch thrown from Fury in the first round, because they're both going to be very respectful of their boxing capabilities. And so I think Fury takes centre of the ring. Usyk will be circulating, looking for a way in, looking for the openings. He'll be trying to set jabs, set traps, jabs to the body, jabs to the head, combinations. And as the fight wears on, I think that's when it catches light. I could see this fight actually for the first 6 rounds with not a lot happening, being quite a boring fight, being very technical, because when one guy can't work the other guy out, but he doesn't want to commit himself, he won't, because that's the way that boxing works. And so you see it and you go, so the boxing purists will appreciate what's going on in there when you see them and they're doing stuff and there's a lot of feinting or whatever, but they don't want to commit because they're very respectful of what their opponent's got as well. So I think this is one of those fights that it could be quiet for the first 6 rounds.
Who do you think lands the first big shot?
I think that Tyson Fury will be chipping away more with the jabs. Yeah, maybe Tyson Fury. I don't see this as a fight where someone's going to land the big shot. That's the point.
Right.
You know, that's why I say I think it's a points fight, because I just think that they're going to be very respectful early on. And if anyone's going to land the big shot, it'll probably be Oleksandr Usyk, because he'll be coming in from low and he puts the combinations together. So he'll probably be the one that lands maybe a barrage of punches. But for me, I think that overall, Tyson Fury will do enough to nick it.
So where we are...
What's your thoughts on that, by the way?
I think Fury wins the fight based upon my acceptance or belief that he comes in as the best version of himself. I think he'll be too big and too strong. And I think he'll knock...
How do you see it playing out?
I think it'll be a lot like the way you described it. I think
Yeah.
he'll be cautious. I think we might have to yawn our way through the first couple of rounds. But I think Fury will lean on him. I think he'll slow him down with his weights. I think he'll pop him away around his midriff.
Yeah.
And I think he'll knock him out in about 8 or 9.
Oh, you do? You think
Yeah, I
he'll
do.
knock him out?
I do.
Interesting.
I think that Fury will want to knock him out. I think Fury will see it as a badge of honour to knock him out. And I think he'll work him out quickly, or try and work him out quickly. He worked out Wilder in the second fight.
Yeah.
In the first fight, he got himself back into a condition where he could fight at that level. In the second fight, he decided to meet him in the middle of the ring. People say that's because that he potentially couldn't move around anymore. I'd say it's because he wasn't fearful of Wilder and he thought he could deal with him.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think Fury will work out Usyk in this fight. And I think he'll knock him out. Now, I might be the only person in the building that thinks that.
I could visualise that, and the reason being is because Fury will be wanting to be dominant in this one, like, as in he want to be using his attributes to his advantage. And what I've seen from Oleksandr Usyk, which I saw in the Dubois fight with the blow, whether it's a low blow, body shot or whatever else is, but there are times when you look at Usyk and think he's not comfortable here, and he's like sort of like if you bully him, he doesn't like it. Derek Chisora in the first half of that contest as well was all over him, but he looks uncomfortable when you do that. He's not a fighter that looks comfortable when you do that. And I think if Fury tags him, he gets him with a big long right hand or whatever and tags him, Fury's capable of jumping on him.
Exactly.
And Usyk is one of those guys that you can. I think you can quickly steal their soul from, like as in, you know, like he.
Oh, I think that's a big call, Spence.
No. What I'm saying is,
that's a big call.
what I'm saying is that when he's uncomfortable, so take that back. When he's uncomfortable with certain situations like that, what I'm saying is I can visualise Tyson Fury bullying him out of the fight and just taking over where he loses a lot of confidence very, very quickly, Usyk. And that's the way that I see it. That's how I think if Tyson Fury wins inside the distance, that's how he does it. Like he catches.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I'm not sure that given the fact he's got an undefeated record that we can make that.
But I can
but we'll see.
I can on the performances where he's won the fight because he turns it around. What I'm saying is when he's uncomfortable, you can see that he's uncomfortable for a couple of rounds, but then he works it back out again and he takes control of the situation again.
It's whether Fury's
he's very good at controlling
whether Fury
it.
lets him out from underneath.
Absolutely.
Once Fury gets him on, what you're saying is, once Fury gets him on the move and gets him uncomfortable, Fury isn't the kind of guy that lets you get away with that.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly that. Okay. You probably explained that better than me, though.
No. I just used the
well
platform
done.
that you gave me.
Well done.
The Ring of Fire undercard. You've got, I think it's undebatable. You've got the best cruiserweight in the world, Jai Apataya, revisiting old ground against Marius Briedis.
Yeah.
Right. Did he break his jaw last time?
2022, broke his jaw. I think in about the 10th or 11th round, something like that. What a contest that was.
Well, it was the belt he was stripped of, right?
Who?
Jai Apataya.
Yeah, Jai Apataya. It was for the IBF title.
Right. So this one is for the IBF title again. So the belt that he was stripped of, by taking the fight that he took in Saudi, he was stripped of his belt.
Yeah.
He's now gone back round full circle.
Yeah.
And he's now fighting for his own belt against the guy that he took it from first time round.
Yeah, but I've got to say that first fight, like I watched that fight again and what a fight that was. I think fourth round it was Jai Apataya, who was boxing in his home country against Marius Briedis, the bigger guy, strong, very strong guy. And he hit him with an uppercut, broke his nose, broke Briedis' nose in the fourth round. And you was thinking, well, that's it now. He's going to have to show a lot of character to turn this around. But Briedis sort of did, and he started coming back into it, started pushing it, and he hurt Jai Apataya a lot of times in that fight as well, 2 or 3 times in the fight. But Jai showed that he has that in him as well. But it was action was swinging back and forth. Jai Apataya for me was the younger, fresher fighter of the two, and that showed on there. He had just a slight edge in speed, but it was a great contest. And
but he's got
after the last couple of rounds when he broke his jaw, Marius put it right on him, and it was great. Really looking forward to this contest again.
I don't see past Jai Apataya. Do you for this fight?
No, absolutely not. I just think that where we're at now, since that last fight, like you say, I think Jai Apataya's had a couple of fights. Marius Briedis has been inactive, and I think that you look at where they're at in their careers right now, Briedis is getting on a little bit, and I just think that Jai will have improved a lot, and that will have elevated him to another level since becoming champion. I think that Jai Apataya wins this fight very comfortably. He could even get a late stoppage in this one, going into this one. And the first fight was very, very close.
And then we might see Jai Apataya fighting one of our boys, right? Because we've got Riakpo versus Chris Billiam-Smith.
Yeah.
That could then be a unification fight, not undisputed, but a unification fight between the WBO and the IBF, couldn't it?
Definitely. I think that Jai Apataya, by the way, is the standout in the division.
So do I.
I really do.
So do I. Do you think he lands up in the heavyweights in the end?
I think he will, yeah. I mean, he's a monster of the division. You look at him and you just think, like, I can't see anyone in the cruiserweight division beating him, and you could see him doing well in the heavyweights. I think the only thing that maybe let him down in the heavyweights is the lack of size, because the heavyweights are getting so big now.
We've got Joe Cordina.
Yeah.
Fighting Anthony Kokechi.
Yeah.
IBO champion.
Yeah, IBF champion. Yeah.
No, Joe Kokechi's the IBO champion.
Yeah,
right?
IBO champion. Yeah.
So, I mean, Chris Eubank Sr. told me that you must recognise the IBO because that's what Chris Eubank has. All right.
Well, I'm glad you reminded me. I forgot about that, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was such a meaningful one, wasn't it?
But listen, it's a good
Joe
fight.
Cordina's a good fighter, isn't he?
It's a great fight. Kokechi's, he's one of those guys that's done very well. I think he lost to Martin J. Ward back in 2017, 2018, something like that. Since then, he's had a good run of wins. Won the IBO title in his last contest. 5'10", very, very tall for a super feather. But like you say, for me, I think that, you know, you look at Joe Cordina and just go, again, stand out in the division for me. Smart boxer, you know, he's got good power in his hands as well. And I just think that he works a way out and he wins the fight. I fancy him to win that fight actually inside the distance. But Kakachi's a good opponent and he's earned his right.
Yeah.
But for me, Cordina is the standout, yeah.
Caballero, Sanchez, also in that.
I like that as well, you know, because Caballero is sort of like, keeps proving people wrong. He's one of those guys that just seems to do enough and he works things out, you know. So yeah, I'll go for Sanchez in it. I like Sanchez. I think he's very explosive when he puts his shots together. But Caballero is a good fighter, a very good fighter, and yeah, it's a good one to have.
Well, it's a good set of undercards, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, as you would expect now. I mean, all due respect to the Saudis, they are putting on fights that you would want to see from the first fight to the last.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
The last being the undisputed. Over the weekend, we saw a series of things, but what we saw was, if anyone doubted Vasyl Lomachenko, they doubt no more. I mean, this was a masterclass, wasn't it?
36-year-old rewinding the clock. That's what it is. And we talk about that. We say that, actually. But when you look at it, and we go, Devin Haney, he won the fight against Devin Haney.
I think the argument about Teofimo Lopez, I think he went into that with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I think Lomachenko is on a different level.
Oh, I
totally agree. At times.
I totally agree. You know, he went into Kambosos, he went into his own backyard, and yeah, I thought it was a masterclass. I really did. I think that he slowly, systematically broke Kambosos down. And just, yeah, it was one of those ones that he just chipped away. Body shots to finish were perfect. I just love the way out of that southpaw stance. He throws that left hand, he drives it to the body, but manoeuvres his body around the side. So he's not actually in range to get hit himself because he's come off the line and lands that shot over the top. It works the angle so well. It was a masterclass. And you go now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Lomachenko's put his name right back up there, and you go, some great fights out there for him. You know, Shakur Stevenson
that's what I was
one.
going to say to you. He's got Tank Davis calling him out.
Yeah.
He's got Shakur Stevenson calling him out. Where do you think he'll go next?
He'll only go for the big fights now. I think he's at the stage.
Well,
I mean,
two big fights,
he's talked about this now. He's saying that, again, he's had to adapt his style from when he was in his early days. He recognises he's getting old now, but he has that quality, that star quality around him, Simon. Like, you know, what we're talking about with Tyson Fury and, you know, the other fighters in the past. We're talking about Floyd Mayweather. You go, that as they get older, they can adapt because they've still got that boxing IQ. They put the shots together so well. And that's what he's done. He's changed his style ever so slightly.
But he hasn't taken a lot of damage on the way, has he? I mean, I know he's lost to Teofimo Lopez, and then we saw him in against Luke Campbell on these shores, and the fight against Devin Haney, but he hasn't been.
Do you know what? Do you know why? Because he controls that space so well, so that he's just out of range with his opponent, so he can see it. So as the opponent shoots, he's just out of range, so he takes half a step back and comes in. He's already in range himself. He's like, the judgment of distance is what makes him such a special fighter, and I think that's what he demonstrated on Saturday night. You've got to give him a shot against any one of those now. You know, Tank Davis, we want to see that fight with him, Tank Davis. We want to see him and Shakur Stevenson, because they're the guys that are taking over from the baton, but you've got to take that from the best of that era.
There'll be some fight Tank Davis won it.
Say again?
There'll be some fight Tank Davis.
Oh, that'd be a huge fight, you know. You can never write Lomachenko off, forget the age or whatnot. I just think that he showed there that he's still very much at the top of his game.
Talking about Lomachenko, Kambosos Jr., we also saw something else in Perth that was disappointing, wasn't it, for Nina Hughes? I mean, what do you make of that? I mean, first of all, the result was wrong. Second of all, the embarrassment of being told you've won and then being called back. Third of all, if you listen to the backstory from a trainer about being told she had to have X amount of judges that were from that part of the world, and by the way, they changed the judges, and if you hadn't changed the judges, you might not have had the outcome.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Mate. I mean, yeah, it doesn't need me to spell it out. I mean, that just stunk, that whole thing there. You looked at that. She won the fight clearly. She won the fight by 6 rounds or so. Rightly so, her hand was raised. Then all of a sudden, the decision is overturned, and it was read out wrong or whatever. You go, really? I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I don't know. I just don't like it. I just think it stinks, the whole thing.
Yeah.
It stinks, the whole thing. That girl should be coming home with her titles, and I think she was robbed. It was an absolute robbery. And then to say that you've got the decision and then overturn it, you go, it just stinks of corruption. I mean, I just don't like it. You go, how can... It's not right.
What belt was it for?
It's not right. It's for her WBA.
WBA?
Yeah.
You'd like to think there'd be some sort of intervention there, don't you?
I would really hope so. I think for for the sake of boxing, really. You know, if you want to keep some form of respect within our sport, you got to have a look at that and go, what's going on here? Because I didn't like it. Yeah.
You know, moving on from the disappointment of Nina Hughes, but moving on to the ascension.
Yeah.
Potentially cementing in people's minds that we've got another world-class fighter.
Yeah.
In women's boxing. In Lauren Price.
Yeah.
And her outcomes of the weekend.
What a performance from Lauren Price. Jessica McCaskill is a very difficult girl to box and very difficult to beat. And I think Lauren Price demonstrated that she is one of the top female boxers out there right now. She controlled the space again, just got into range, let the combinations go and got back out of range. I think for McCaskill, it just showed that her feet were a little bit too slow and she was trying to close a gap with her hands. She was punching but holding her feet back, and Lauren Price just exploited that, and then she just took advantage.
She's arrived, I think it was mine.
Yeah, I mean, there was head clashes going on there, and you saw the really bad swelling over McCaskill's eye, and that played a part in McCaskill's performance maybe as well. But yeah, for me, I thought it was a first-class performance from Lauren Price, who's only having her 7th contest, and we looked at it and you just thought, is this a step too far too soon for a super talented young lady? And yeah, I mean, it was a dominant shutout performance. She never lost a round. It was brilliant.
I mean, people are suggesting that the easy fight to make is Natasha Jonas.
Yeah, of course.
Do you see her taking that?
Well, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Natasha Jonas. Yeah, Sandy Ryan's another fight that I wouldn't mind seeing. I think there's lots of girls that she can fight, recognisable names over here that make sense and big fights. But yeah, Natasha Jonas is the one, because I think Natasha's sort of earned her stripes as well, and she's she's got her accolades there, and I think that she's looking for those legacy fights now. And Lauren Price would be a great fight for her at this stage. She's 39 now, I believe, so probably in her last year of boxing. Natasha. That's a fight that I would love to see.
Right, Spence. Congratulations to Lomachenko this week.
Yeah.
Commiserations to Nina.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Laura. But we got a big week of boxing next time around.